Terry Bond. I'm in charge of our 17th century medical program here at Jamestown Settlement. And one of the things we've incorporated into that program in the last couple of years is making medicinal compounds by use of the art of distillation, which if you look that up, if you Google that, you'll find that simply the process by which you use heat and condensation to separate out components or materials from in this case, a liquid mixture. Today we'll be making an ancient remedy called rose water. And speaking of ancient, we know that distillation as a process goes back at least to about 1200 BC. There are Akkadian and Sumerian tablets that describe the process. By the 2nd and 3rd centuries BC and AD, that time frame, it looks like the ancient Greeks had figured out how to make certain types of alcohol by distilling wine, though it's not clear whether they were making it as a drinking beverage or to use in some ceremonial practices. But certainly that practice continued on into the Middle Ages. We know that in subcontinental India and in the Near East and Arabic countries, Persia, etc., we know that they were making remedies of herbal compounds such as we're making today, the rose water, as early as the 6th century. Also alcoholic beverages, such as we think of for distillation, were being made in, again, the Middle East and Arabic countries by the 9th century AD, as recorded by the Arab structures, and that information had reached the West by the 13th, 14th century. In fact, by the 14th century, there are concerns in Germany of unlicensed distillation of alcoholic substances such as that juniper liquor, a liquor made from juniper berries that we now know as gin, and brandy wine, brandy by any other name. By the 1490s, similar concerns being expressed in England of unlicensed distillers and the damage they're causing not only to the economy but to people's health, among other things. By 1500, sources are being published in England and Germany and other areas showing the different methods of distillation, such as this work by Conrad from a bit later in our period. And we know that archaeologically, we can trace distillation in many different sources. I've already mentioned the Sumerian tablets. We see evidence of distillation to make nitric or sulfuric acid, probably for mineral assay, at Jamestown Island in the archaeology of the original fort. Those acids were used to test whether an ore was silver or gold bearing. Imagine being interested in that at Jamestown. But we're also relatively certain that the apothecaries here would have also been using this technique to make simple compounds such as we are doing today, rose water, and also other more complicated mixtures. We know Lawrence Boone, a doctor who was here in 1611, experimented with some of the local plants and materials, almost certainly using distillation to test some of them. Since I mentioned apothecaries earlier, they were not the one-stop medical shop, they were the pharmacists. This was their purview, learning how to turn over 1,500 different substances they knew of in England into different compounds, including the use of the idea of distillation. So today, as I said, we're making rose water, a very simple compound, which basically starts, of course, with rose petals, collected preferably fresh, but can also be used dry. And they're then, in this setup, placed into a pot. In this one, we also have mint leaves. Mint waters were another remedy that was used for stomach ailments. Rose water is a good emollient in medicine and also flavoring in a lot of Mediterranean foods and English foods. But you place your plant material in the pot and add the still head, or sometimes called a moor head, to that. And the basic concept is that as we bring the liquid, in this case water, if it was alcohol, we'd need to get it up to about 173 degrees, and that would be the boiling point. It would start to evaporate, and the alcohol would condense as it hits the cooler surface of the dome. In this case, it's just water, so we have to actually bring it up to a higher temperature, about 212, But again, as that evaporates, and you've seen this in your kitchen, if you've ever lifted the lid off of a pot that's boiling, you've seen how the water vapor, the steam, has condensed back into water droplets. That occurs because that surface of the lid is cooler than the material down here. Same thing with this dome. So those droplets are going to collect, but in this case it has a lip where you can see that the condensed fluid will catch in this lip, drip down, and run through that spout where it will be collected. And that is what we have going on down here, hopefully getting heat up again, up to the point where this will start dripping into our catch bottle. It does take a while. As one of my colleagues was discussing this earlier, this is an interesting process, and you can do this at home. And there are YouTube videos out there that show you how to make rose water on your stovetop. But be aware that it will seem like nothing's happening, and then suddenly the fluid just starts running, just starts dripping down here. Regrettably, I'm not sure we're there yet. All right, well, that's our distillation video where we've been using a simple pot still or alembic to make rose water today, condensing rose oil and infused water up into the dome, trapping that to make a very nice emollient material for wounds or a nice ingredient for cooking. Much as the English may have done here, and certainly we're going back home in England using equipment much like our setup today. So we thank you for watching. Hope you like this video, so give us a like and or subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.